Hi, my name is Lena and I am an addict. I have made quite a few bags by now, and these are some of them. And they all have been so fun to make. When your kit arrives, it arrives like this in a separate pouch. If you have ordered several kits, each kit comes in a pouch of their own. In this kit you will find, of course, all the leather pieces that you need. I think this is a shoulder strap, more leather pieces, and you will also find all the hardware you need and other tools, and let me show you that properly just right now. In the kit you will find all the leather parts you need and also the hardware. And as you can see, each leather part is already punched, so it's very easy to sew them all together. You might also see that some holes are a bit bigger. Those are markers, so that when you piece the pieces together, you should make sure that those are aligned. In the kit you will also find everything else you need to complete your project. So of course you need some thread, and this model comes with 2 different threads. And you also have the package with all the tools you need. So you have a pair of scissors, you have the needles, and then you have some other useful stuff like these clips. These are very useful when you want to hold your leather pieces together while you are sewing. And yeah, I guess that's it. The only thing you need to provide by yourself is actually some glue. Because when you are fastening your threads, you are going to need some glue. I use ordinary super glue, and that has worked beautifully for me. So, once you have received your kit, on the bag that the kit comes in, you can see this code. If you scan that code on your phone, you will start up a WhatsApp conversation, and then you can ask for and also be provided with the tutorial video. And I find the tutorial videos most useful. They will carefully show every step of the way while you are making your bag. The videos are subtitled in English, but then hey, pictures are a universal language, right? So as you saw, I have already completed a whole bunch of bags already, and that reminds me, the bag that we are making now is actually the same as this one. My sister thought this one was lovely, so I'm actually making one for her, the same model. It's a great gift to give and very appreciated. Finally, I would like to say something more general about POPSEWING. They have a very broad range of products on their homepage, and not only bags. There are belts, keychains, bag charms. Ooh, like this one for instance. It's even got tiny feet. So cute. So there's a lot to choose from, and there's also both leather options and vegan leather options if you are vegan and do not want to work with real leather. A few tips from the pro, I said humbly. Things to consider when you are to order a bag is to carefully consider the measurements. The measurements are always given on the homepage so that you don't get disappointed because the project is too big or too small. Some other things I would like to share with you, and I also try to write a review on POPSEWING's homepage each time I have finished a project. Maybe it can be useful for someone else. My number one tip is to make sure that you actually stretch each stitch you make. That way you make sure that the stitches are nice and even. And to make the stitches in a very straight line, I would also suggest that when you are working with 2 threads, that try to remember how you cross the threads so that you cross it the same way all the way through the whole seam. That will also be very important for having a seam that is nice, tight and straight. There are many different types of leathers. For example, when I made this bag, this leather is super soft and super nice to work with, as opposed to another bag I made, which is this one. Here the leather is very structured, very rigid, and you actually need some raw strength in different parts of this bag when making this bag, and there the clips come in very handy, let me assure you. If you, like me, don't like just to sit in the sofa and have nothing to do and have knitted more than enough sweaters and cardigans that no one ever wears, then I can highly recommend this. This is so much fun, and yes, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to POPSEWING and their DIY kits. I hope this can be of give you a bit more information of what to expect when you order from POPSEWING. And should you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact them. They always respond fast and very clear and very helpful. So, what do you say? Should we start piecing this bag together? I thought I would show you the basic sewing technique, and then, as I've told you before, it's only to follow the instruction manual. By the way, guys, I'm sorry for the glare in my glasses, but I would be blind as a bat without them, so I'm sorry, but you will have to deal with that. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start with fastening the lock onto the front of the bag. But before I start, I would like just to show you how you can tell which is the front and which is the back of the leather. On the front, the holes are very clear, as on the back side you can see they are a bit more uneven and not as clean and neat. Another way to tell is, of course, the texture of the different pieces. So this piece is a bit more grained, while the back side is very smooth and not so much texture. So the first thing we are going to do on this bag is to fasten the lock onto the front of the bag. The lock is in two parts. You open it by pressing this button, And voila. And what we are doing first is to fasten the lower part of the lock onto the front of the bag. So I will need this piece, and I will take it through the metal thingy bobby here, fold it double, and align it with the holes on the bag like this. I have already prepared my thread, so I have a thread, one thread and 2 needles, and the sewing technique used is called a saddle stitch. So the first thing I want to do is to make sure that the holes are aligned, and then I start by threading through the first needle through all layers of the leathers. Pull that through. Make sure that I have an equal amount of thread on both sides. And here goes the first stitch. So I take needle number 1 and go through the first hole. Then I take needle number 2 and go through that same hole. There we are. So now I have 1 needle on each side. What I like to do is to gently stretch or tighten the stitch before I make a new one. So needle number 2 this time to the back side, so that I have both needles on one side. I turn it over and I pass through that very same hole, and once again I have 1 needle on each side of the piece I'm working with. And this is the technique you will use all over the bag. This is a bit hard to do trying to show it on video, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And I just continue the same technique through all of these holes, and when I get to the last one here, then I will backstitch 2 stitches with both needles, and when that is done I will make sure all stitches are tightened. Then I will cut the threads and fasten them with a bit of glue. Okay, let's continue. There, now I hope you have gotten the gist of it, and the technique is the same throughout the whole bag, and it's called a saddle stitch. Let me give you some examples. This bag, for example, is quite large and it might look complicated, but actually this is one of the easiest models I have made. It's so fun to make, and there are not too many parts, and the instruction is very helpful and very easy to understand. Another example is this mini puzzle bag. How cute is this? This is, here I actually had some trouble. Well, the first thing I should mention is that there is an awful lot of pieces to piece together, so it's time consuming, but not really particularly technical difficulties. The thing I did find a bit frustrating and hard to figure out was how to make this flap. And there I had to use my technique by tracing hole by hole, so I knew that I was starting at the right point. But this is so gorgeous, right? I want to make one in every color. Another bag which was quite, I would say, for a skilled or advanced bag maker is this bag with this sort of accordion style that also took a while for me to figure out how to do it and to make sure that, as you can see, the seams are on, oh maybe that's not so obvious, but the seams are on different sides. So for the middle part, the accordion bits should go over the middle part, and it's quite different on the outer parts where you fasten the accordion to the front and the back of the page. There they are just aligned. So you will struggle sometimes, but just keep on and I'm sure you will get it in the end. And now for the fun part. Let's have a bit of a catwalk show. I'm so happy to be able to share my joy and my addiction with you, and have fun, guys.